the start of the Second World War, Canada was home to 167,000 Jews.
The tanks were shooting directly at our trenches.
40,000 were males.
That shells and mortars were coming, landing into the water and on the beaches.
Of those, over 17,000, nearly 11% of the Canadian Jewish population, served in the Canadian military.
The report that they had received from the Department of National Defense was simply that I was missing in action.
423 sacrificed their lives. This was the greatest per capita contribution of any ethnic or religious group in Canada.
Now, Jews have participated in the military of Canada even before there was Canada. There are records going back to 1608 that show that Jews did participate in the military. In fact, the town of Schomberg, Ontario, is named after the captain that brought General Wolfe to Quebec. His name was Captain Schomberg and was a Jew. So Jews have served in the military in Canada for many, many years.
The Torah tells us that we're supposed to remember what our enemies had done to us. I would argue that if we are supposed to remember our enemies, how much the more so must we remember our veterans who have defended us against our enemies. It's important for us as Jews to realize that of all those in Canada, for example, that were of the appropriate age, 11% of the Jewish population volunteered to be part of the military, to help defend us. This is both incredible and inspirational.
The City of Toronto has dedicated land for a Jewish war veterans memorial in Earl Bales Park, near the existing Holocaust Memorial. On October 31, 2004, the official announcement was made.
We are gathered here today in this lovely park on this splendid Ontario autumn morning to dedicate this land in perpetuity for the erection of a memorial to honor the memory of those men and women of the Jewish faith who served their beloved Canada as soldiers, airmen, and sailors in the wars and conflicts of this nation, both before and after Confederation.
World War II did not begin when Nazi Germany invaded Poland in September of 1939, but indeed had begun in January of 1933, when Hitler and Nazism came to power in Berlin. The Nuremberg Laws, Kristallnacht, Buchenwald, virulent, murderous anti-Semitism. Because of these, Jewish servicemen and women knew there could be nothing less than total victory. Still today, terrorism is our undeniable and unforgiving enemy. It stands for the same principles against which our soldiers fought. The unremitting object of terrorism is the same as that of Hitlerite Germany and its Axis: to extinguish democracy, deny liberty, and take innocent lives. Globally, there are over 1.5 million Jews who bore arms in World War II. Canadian school children know very little about what their military has done, and even less about what Canadian Jews have done to defend freedom.
When you ask any youngster today who the enemy was, 9 chances out of 10 you won't get the right answer. This is why we're constructing the Flames of Memory, the memorial in Earl Bales Park. Because after the veterans are all gone, who'll be able to speak for what they have done in the past, after they're gone, this memorial should speak for them.
Barney Danson is a former Minister of National Defense and himself a veteran.
If you don't have things that are worth fighting for, life is pretty shallow. And a lot of the things we enjoy in this country, like the freedom of the press, the freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the freedom to talk as we are now in any way we wish, didn't come without some cost. And that cost was serving country and to face the real evil of the ultimate anti-Semitism which we faced in the Nazi era.
Initial discussions were held with local architect Sid Bregman, designer of many well-known Toronto buildings. But Mr. Bregman soon decided someone with an even greater emotion should be handed this special assignment. Today, world-renowned architect Daniel Libeskind has produced an original and moving design for the Flames of Memory Memorial.
You know, I didn't do it out of abstraction because I myself come from a background of, my parents were Holocaust survivors, and my uncle, Nathan, is one of the decorated heroes of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, who perished during that uprising. So when I thought of the Jewish war veterans, I thought, what a meaningful assignment this is. This is not just about just making a thing, an object, but to convey a spirit of emotion, a spirit of life in this particular site.
Among dozens of projects, Libeskind has designed Jewish museums in San Francisco, Copenhagen, and Berlin. Studio Daniel Libeskind in New York was selected to redevelop the World Trade Center, and they are the architects for the new wing of the Royal Ontario Museum in Toronto. In the architect's description, Daniel Libeskind writes, in part, "Flames of Memory illuminates the memory of Jewish war veterans worldwide." The structure is a dramatic, sweeping Hanukkah that celebrates the Maccabees' fight for freedom from tyranny. The Hanukkah form is interpreted as a shield of light with the Shamash as a guardian, asserting a spirit of valor, courage, and strength against the forces of evil. Flames of Memory creates an enduring memorial dedicated to the light of remembrance, which inscribes a place of honor for these heroes into the Book of Life.
I wanted to create not just something like a plaque or but something emotional, something that rises out of that circle, spirals upwards with the light of the menorah and with the shamash, a kind of eternal flame.
The Hanukkah rises from the ground nearly 16 meters or 5 stories. At the center of the memorial is a large amphitheater facing the Hanukkah. The rear of the amphitheater is flanked by the Wall of Remembrance, with names of Jewish veterans the world over, and the Wall of Honor with the names of those who paid the supreme sacrifice. Encircling those walls are the flags of allied nations and the insignia of several Canadian armed service branches.
Veterans have a special place in my heart because of the fact that veterans have demonstrated that actions speak louder than words. What veterans teach us is that if you believe in a cause, you must fight for it. You must struggle for it. That's what they did, and that's what we must do as well.
Names of veterans for the walls are still being gathered through a special website set up with help from York University. Watch for the website address at the end of this video. Toronto's Flames of Memory will become the largest war memorial of its kind in the world and has an impressive list of supporters, including Gerald Schwartz, president of Onex Corporation, 5 Canadian senators, and its main patron, Governor General Adrienne Clarkson. Joseph Warner served in the Canadian Air Force between 1943 and 1945, then in Israel's War of Independence starting in 1948. Today, he gives talks to students and others on his wartime experiences.
I think the importance of it is unlimited. I think it's extremely important to be able to put this up so that people walking by will see it, read the names of those who were killed and those who participated, to realize that the Jews did participate, especially in the Second World War from Canada, at the highest percentage per that population.
Martin Maxwell was a glider pilot in the British Airborne Division. He flew his first mission on D-Day, and 3 months later was taken prisoner of war.
Each one of us should be involved, if possible, physically by helping as volunteers, but also very important that we each donate some money, whatever it is and whatever we can afford. Not only perhaps Jews, but the whole population, because this will be a wonderful monument for the whole city and probably for the whole country.
And so, we, the Jewish War Veterans of Canada, dedicate this land for a memorial not only to remember our Jewish servicemen and women and their valiant struggle against the evils of the past and to preserve Canada, but also we dedicate this memorial as a symbol of our present resistance to terrorism, a resistance, nay, a daily war that as well can know no other outcome than the total and complete defeat of those who would vanquish us and our way of life.
They gave their lives in war so that we can live in peace.
Soon I will not be here. I was the witness, and many of us were witnesses. But when I tell you this story, I've transferred it, and you have now become the witness.